Welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking about your career path and what might not be working and how to fix it.
Welcome to the Shift Happens podcast, where we are navigating the lighter side of life's challenges.
I'm Robin McIntire, a certified life and transitions coach.
And I'm Monique Eckes, the question asker, asking what you might be thinking as a person listening or watching this podcast.
Yes. And today we are going to go into our fourth episode of a series, What's Not Working and How to Fix It.
And so far we've done health and relationships.
Yes.
Yes. So we really wanted to dive into career, job, business. We put career paths here, but this really could cover you whether you are an entrepreneur or if you're working a job.
Yes. Yeah, and it's and there's such a theme through these between our little opener of the series and then the health and the relationships. So hopefully by now, if you've been listening to all of them, you are seeing a pattern. That's the idea. And it did turn into a series because I came to Monique with one idea and she said, no, that's too many.
We have so much in here.
She's so good for me.
And rounding out, these are the three subcategories that we came up with. Mm-hmm. But one thing that we put in bold letters on our notes on our board here in front of us is that all these work together.
They do work together so much. And there's a common denominator if you haven't caught it yet. And we won't tell you right this minute. Basically, when your health stuff is good, your relationship stuff is good, the energy that's created from that, and I'll say good or bad. So if something's not working with health, with your health, or with your relationships, whatever energy that creates for you is what you're bringing to your work or job or career. And as an entrepreneur, relationship building, that can be really, really tough. If you're coming in that energy, it can be, it's a difference in being magnetic or what do you call it? The opposite of that. I was going to say repulsive. That's not what I'm looking for.
But I guess.
Our energy, we want people to just feel it and want to come towards us. Mm-hmm. And when we're coming with problems we're not solving and we're ignoring things in our life that are not working, it shows up at work.
Yeah, exactly. And that's been a lot of my work with Robin, is that the more I can work on all these aspects of my life, the more my business will be better too. So we're going to talk about that today.
It is, because for your business to grow,
you have to grow. Yes. Ta-da! How do we notice this? And you might already know, I don't like this that's happening in my career, my job, my side hustle, my workplace. But here's some clues. If
you dread getting out of bed in the morning because it's a work day, if you're one of those that said, oh my God, I can't wait till Friday, or oh, I hate Mondays, there's a little bit of a sign there that something's not too exciting for you. Mm-hmm. That's a big one. If you're bored, some people are bored at work.
Yeah.
If you are somebody that really has a lot to offer as far as creativity or ideas for the business and you're not getting a chance to use those, you might be really bored if you're going to work and your job is checking things off of a list or not being around people if you want to be around people. So bored can be one.
Okay.
Kind of the same as feeling uninspired, I think, just kind of settling. And overwhelmed is big. What about you out there that are going to work and feel like your plate is so full? And this can totally happen to entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
If you're an entrepreneur and you're listening, you know this one. We know this one, where you just feel like there's too much to do and too little time to get it done.
Yeah, super overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. I know a big one for especially, I teach other photographers, and it's the clients won't buy this. Clients don't want to come to me. So this is another way you can kind of notice that maybe you're stuck or something's not working.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have enough clients.
That energy of, I've tried it all and it's not working.
Right, like we've been
That's
saying.
another big sign. Yeah.
Yes.
Or just not believing either in yourself or the process, or that it takes time, or wherever you are in your process, whether it's a job you've been at for a very long time or whether you're starting a new business, it is really easy to go there and get into that, either not enough money, I don't have the skills, all the things that come with those thoughts.
Yeah, so it's either the way that you're feeling or what it might sound like is the notes that we made. So it might sound like, I hate my job.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know?
I hate my job. What else do we have?
Burned out.
Yeah, burned out.
Yeah.
Burned out's another one. Yep. If you are so over it and you know you're burned out and you've been burned out for a really long time, there's something that's not working. Yeah.
Another one that you probably have noticed if you've listened to this entire series is kind of having a pity party.
Oh, yeah. Right. We get tired of feeling burned out, or we get tired of feeling if we're at a job where maybe we feel taken advantage of, or or underpaid, or not getting ahead. There's just so many different things that are, and once we get in that negative thought loop, the creativity or looking for solutions just goes away.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
So then we're back to stuck.
Yeah.
Right? And it's harder and harder to get away from these feelings and these thoughts.
Yeah, they totally loop if we let them.
Yeah.
Because, the thoughts are going to come in. But we talked also last week in relationships how thoughts can be so habitual.
Yeah.
So if we are used to going to work every day, I hate this, or I hate my boss, or this sucks, or any of the things we say over and over, it's just this negative thought loop, and it's habitual. So again, it's the habits that bring, our habit of thought that can make it stay bad.
Oh, I can even think of something that a lot of people just accept is, I hate Mondays.
Right.
As we
Mondays
record
are
this,
awful.
it's Monday.
It is Monday, and we look forward to Monday.
I do.
Yeah, I do.
I do. But many of us just say that. It's this kind of, quote, bad habit. If you've listened to our habit episodes too, it's just the habit. Maybe you're socially going along with, Mondays.
Yeah, it's a bonding thing.
Yeah.
Are you bonding over bad Mondays?
But that could be a sign.
Yeah.
That something in your job, your career isn't where you want it to be.
Right.
Yeah. So with that all said, what happens if we stay in it?
Oh, all right. So this one's really, if you just, again, here goes a pattern.
Okay.
If we stay in something that's not working, it's like a closed door. Our brain can't even go searching for answers or solutions because it's resigned because of the negative thought loops that we keep going and the beliefs that we have.
Yeah.
So when all we're doing is thinking how bad it is, and we do feel powerless, and we feel like there's nothing that we can do in our power, there's no work to do. You just stay put. So we stay stuck. And we stay in those cycles, and then we start commiserating with other people, and that makes it even worse. We talked about that in the relationship episode last week.
Oh my God. And we also talked about waiting.
Oh, yeah, waiting.
Mode. Oh, someday.
Yes.
And waiting, it'll get better.
Yes. Waiting for, we talked about in the relationships, waiting for the other person to change. In this scenario, it's waiting for someone to notice us.
Yeah.
It's real easy being an entrepreneur when you're marketing for yourself and you're thinking, surely somebody's going to come along and appreciate what I'm doing. It's just, I'm waiting for my break. And we've learned, haven't we, that there is no break.
Right.
I mean, you might get lucky if you know somebody who knows somebody and the timing is good. But we can never count on that.
Yeah.
It's up to us to go let people know about what we're doing or what we're looking for.
And I think, too, when we say someday or waiting mode, it's never right here. It's always in the future.
It's
always
always
in the future.
out there. And someday is not a day.
Oh, I didn't see that on my calendar.
Someday, I know. I have looked for years and I just don't see it on there. Someday is not a day.
And for me, as an entrepreneur, a self-employed person, if I stay in that feeling, I can't make the impact in the world that I want to make.
It's so true. Again, okay, so that's a great example of energy. So we were thinking all these things, and it eventually pulls us down to self-doubt. I'm not good enough, right? If we stay in this, we feel stuck, we get into a little bit of pity party, but and maybe blaming. But in that level, there's just, like I said, there's nowhere to go with it.
Yeah.
But when you feel like that, do you feel creative? No. Do you feel like you could solve anyone else's problem?
Not really.
No. I mean, there's just, so it is, that's why the self-awareness work, and Monique, you've come so far with all the things that you've noticed and seen, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun, and I'm always working on this, right? It's our job is never done. Self-awareness is just something we get better and better at. But when we realize we're in that energy and it's not serving us, that's when we can choose.
Yeah.
Even if we don't know how or what to do, if our mind is open to it, I love I'm going to throw out a quote real quick.
Okay.
Marie Forleo, everything is figure-outable.
Yeah.
That is one of the best quotes. Now, in our yucky energy, we're like, yeah, right.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
In our more positive energy, it's like, okay, what could happen if I buy into that?
Mm-hmm.
What could change right in this moment if I said, okay, if everything's figure-outable, there's something here I can find if I want to go look for it.
Right. So instead of just tolerating it, feeling powerless, just staying in that.
Yeah.
So that actually leads me really well to what could happen if we weren't in this?
It's a freedom to go searching for what you really want. So if we're stuck in what we don't want, and we're not open to anything changing, we never actually get to ask ourselves, so what do you want if you could have it? Mm-hmm. So that's the other thing, is when we think we are in a position with no power at all, no control over our life or our job or our work, and we need to do a disclaimer here too. We know things can be hard.
Ooh.
We know sometimes we just need to stay in a job to make the money. We're not, again, we don't mean to put that on the side. Yes, that matters, and yes, that's an exception. We're talking about in general. And when we get really honest with ourselves, have we done everything? Have we looked at all the possibilities? What can I do to feel better about being in this job if I do have to stay here? So all those things, it can look better when we start looking for better.
Right. And then the opposite of all the things that we said we'd get stuck in. So you could be inspired.
Oh, so inspired.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yes.
Instead of walking in on Monday and going, wah, wah, Mondays, you could be like, oh, hey, it's Monday. This is a clean slate for me today.
You totally twisted it, right? Yep,
Yeah.
just flipped it. Yep.
That's what your career, your job, your side hustle, all that could be.
That's so true. It's just like, what? And this is fun. So if you're listening and you are so relating to, oh my gosh, I have felt this stuck, and oh my gosh, I'm in that thought loop too that won't seem to go away. Could you get curious and really watch for your thoughts and your language? And that alone can help you understand why you might still be stuck. Okay, so... Okay, this is a little side note.
Okay.
Your exercise, your thoughts about exercise before versus now.
Okay.
Curiosity changed that for you.
Yeah.
It
Curiosity
really did.
changes a lot for me.
Yeah, and and Monique, luckily for her, she doesn't even know what a great quality this is. But because she stays so curious, she doesn't stay stuck in no. You're like, what if? What if? What if?
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, if you ever
Agree.
become a client, being a what if client helps you win more.
And that's
true.
that's the how. When we have this promise of the title of this podcast, what's not working and how to fix it. That's the how. Stay curious.
Yeah, stay curious.
Isn't it?
And get your mind back opened up.
Gosh.
And own it. Here's the other part.
Okay.
So this is the tough love.
Okay.
You got to own what's happening now. So if you do see, this is not a throw guilt at you. This is just about owning, so you get a chance to change it if you want to. Owning that, oh my gosh, I have been saying this same thing for weeks, months, years. And even look at maybe if you have been in this, how has it affected not just you, but maybe your coworkers or your family. If you really hate your job, when you go home, you might not be the only one suffering.
Oh,
right?
That is so true.
It's true, because you spend so much time at your job that if you really don't like it, or whether it's the you think it's the company or the boss or something's unfair, you're not making the money you want to make, whatever the reasons are, if you've been in it for a long time, it has changed you in some way. So you want to get yourself back.
Yeah. And the curiosity piece, for me, I'm going to give a story.
Yeah.
All right. I worked many, many years in the veterinary world at the front office. And there were times I worked in 2 different practices. And the last practice I worked at, there was getting to be some resentment. So there's
another keyword. Thank you.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
Keyword. Yeah.
Getting to be some resentment over who was doing the cleaning chores every week and every evening. Every evening we'd have to vacuum and mop the practice, wipe down the bathroom, take out the garbage, whatever the cleaning chores were. And inevitably, one person would get stuck every single time cleaning. mopping. We all hated that. That was the last person to leave. Like, oh, we want to go home and hug our dogs. And I just said, curiosity, well, what if we all participated and we knew who was going to do it every week? So say there was 10 people who worked the front office, and if we just made a little chart, these 4 things have to be done. Guess what? You only have to do them once every 8-10 days. Because you're on the list. And so I took it to the staff, and they're like, yeah, that'd be great. There was no more resentment over who was going to mop, who was going to clean the bathroom.
Such a simple
any of that.
solution.
Very simple. And it made our closing process so much more peaceful and not as like butting heads.
Yeah.
So we all got along better too. And we all knew exactly what our role was that day. And it was just that little piece of curiosity. If everyone's complaining about that, including me, what is one small thing we can do?
Yeah.
And having that curiosity, it just made that day so much better.
I love that, because you weren't the boss, you know, any of that, and you still believed, hey, maybe I can make a difference, and you did. Mm-hmm. And it was a simple answer.
Really simple.
Almost makes you go, why didn't they have that before?
Yeah.
Right? But they didn't, and you helped solve a big problem, and then everybody gets to pull their weight.
And that actually is a great thing to take away from this podcast, because many of us are stuck in this waiting for someone else to do it. Waiting for the boss. Like, what if you can inspire them? Mm-hmm. You're the one who takes the action.
Yeah.
And then you can inspire them to go, oh, hey, next time I want to get curious. How can we solve this? How can we solve this? The more this gets out to people, the happier we're going to be in our workplaces. Mm-hmm. Whether it's our own business, our side hustle, our 9 to 5 for somebody else, I really think that we could be leaders in small ways.
That's a great way to put it, Monique.
Yeah.
It's such a great way to put it. And you're basically nutshelling, hey, better communication. Yeah. It doesn't sound like you went into the boss and went, you know what, I'm getting really mad about this. You just went in and said, hey, this is a problem. I think I have a solution. Can we incorporate this? Mm-hmm. And it can be so much better than we think.
Yeah.
And good for you. It was a big thing. You thought it was a little thing because you came up with it and it seemed easy. But what a big thing solving it could have been a huge problem down the road if it was already starting to build the resentment.
It definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
So Monique, I don't know if you realized it at the time, but just stepping into, like you said, take action from being an employee, you took action. Mm-hmm. That could build confidence in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, just having your idea saying, oh, that's a great idea, and yes, we're going to do it, and yes, look what it solved. We don't think of it as confidence, but it's because you could have been rejected as well.
True.
Right? You could have walked away saying, oh, they didn't like my idea. Mm-hmm. But look what it solved, because you just said, hey, and you came in with the right, you must have worded it right, and presented it right in a positive light, and it worked. So,
and I think that's kind of the whole point of your work that you do and this podcast. We're making heavy things lighter, and sometimes it is. We don't realize that that's it. That's all we had to do.
I know. Oh, we do. My mother-in-law and I crafted together. We had a little craft business.
Oh.
Yeah, it was all snowmen, mostly woodworking, some sewing, but we did 2 craft shows a year. And we did this, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years. And I remember thinking, oh, how am I going to tell her that I'm just ready to, like, every time we're done each year, we're like, do we want to do this again? But I was really at the point where I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to tell her. And when I mustered up the nerve to say, hey, Nana, I think this is getting to be a little much, she was relieved.
Oh.
So that's another great example of thinking something's bigger in our mind. Mm-hmm. Maybe you want to ask for a raise. Maybe the boss has been thinking of calling you in and hasn't got around to it yet. Mm-hmm. So there's so many different scenarios that we think are worse than they are.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can be as bad as we think. But again, you get through it, and you can get through it. I mean,
for sure.
Either way is good.
Yeah. So many of what you teach is wrapped up in this. Like, all of our podcasts are so good. And we do have a couple more things to talk about. And we want to talk about this series in general. Mm-hmm. But we got to stop for our sponsor break.
I bet you cannot believe what this is going to be. It's going to be such a surprise.
It's so great. It's so great.
I want to talk to you about looking into Spark Session Plus with me. It's 2 sessions. 90 minutes, 2 weeks later, it's 30 minutes. You and I, you come to the table. Here's what's bothering me. Here's what I want to change. We get at the root of it. We give you some assignments that we come up with together. We reconvene in 2 weeks. You tell me what's been working, what's not. We retweak, you go back out.
You could use this for whatever challenge you're having at work and in your business. And that's the thing about curiosity and creativity. When you get two people bouncing ideas back and forth, you might just don't have the insight. So,
and sometimes too, I like to think of myself as a thought partner, because that's a lot of what we do. It's I'm listening, and I'm also seeing things that maybe you're not seeing, just as you would see things about me, because we all have blind spots. But what's nice about this is, wow, what if I took a chance for something that's been bothering me for 2 months, 2 years, whatever, and spent this time with me, and we came up with something.
yeah.
And it's that simple.
And I would like to normalize a little bit here too, because a lot of what we say is take ownership, you know, and I feel like sometimes we're like, it's all on you. It's all on you. It's all on you. So to have a partner that can help you realize where to normalize, realize how it could be easier, how it could have ease, not just easier, but have ease, the low-hanging fruit we talk about a lot, and take some of that pressure off of ourselves. Because even though we talk about it being in our lane, we may not know all the resources we actually inherently have.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
You have what you need.
Yeah.
You have what you need to do all of the things that we talk about
Oh my
on this
gosh.
podcast.
And she's so good at letting you know that. So it's really low pressure when you go to Robin. She's just reminding you of what you already have.
Yeah, and I want it for you.
I know, my gosh.
I want the relief for you.
Yes.
I want the relief for you, and I want it to become easy for you to search for easy relief, because I've done a lot of this work. I continue to do this work, but I geek out on it. Like I know how it's helped me in my life, and that's why I want you to go for it. Let me help you rip the Band-Aid off and just find out that this work can be fun.
Yes.
It really can be fun.
Thank you, sponsor.
Thanks, Monique.
All right. Famous one-liner.
It's kind of cheesy. Are you ready?
I am so ready. I love cheese.
If it is to be, it's up to me.
Oh.
Right? What if you really bought into that?
Okay.
Every time. So I even have to remind myself, wait a minute, Robin, this is up to you. Because I've done my share of waiting. I still hope just the right person hears the podcast and wants to have me as a guest. You know, like we always dream about what could happen if we were discovered somewhere. But I'm constantly reminded, if it is to be, it's up to me. And in a summit keynote speaker talk that Sandra Yancey, the CEO of eWomen, did, one of the first things I learned from her came in the form of a question. And it was, are you the CEO of your business or not? And it reminds me of the episode we did, is, are you going to do it or not?
Yeah.
You know, how we just sit here and go back and forth. And that day, I looked at my business and said, I know one of the things that's not working is that I'm doing too much social coffees. So if I'm doing coffees during work hours, it needs to be more with potential clients or with clients. Or it's not that I can never do that with a friend, but I knew when I was honest with myself that I was not being the CEO of my business.
Okay. And when you say if it is to be, it's up to me, that takes me back to the loops of where we're kind of feel stuck.
Yes.
I can't get any more clients. No one's out there. No one can afford me, whatever all that is. And if I can say, if it's meant to be, it's up to me, that means I have some more action I can take.
Yeah.
To me, that's more hopeful.
Yes.
All right. So there's something out there that I haven't tried yet.
And see, you're no beating yourself up. You're just like, again, curious.
Yes.
Oh, there's got to be stuff.
It's empowering.
Yeah, it is.
I love that. And so when we're talking about an action step here, how can we take that one-liner and put it into action?
Okay, so I always encourage you to do this on paper if you can. So get your journal out if you can. So if it is to be, what is the be for you? Define the be. If it is to be, if it is that you are going to start your own business, if it is to be that you are going to give your boss 3 months notice and you're going to move on whether you have an answer or not, whatever the be is for you, what is it?
Yeah.
Because if we don't have anything to go to, why would we quit the job even if we're miserable?
Yeah.
Right? So what are you trying to get to? So define what the be is, and then look at what is your dream job? What would you like to be doing? Now, important about that is when we say that, what's your dream job? What happens to most people? This has happened to me a lot. Oh, I don't know.
Oh, or it's too big.
Yeah, it's just too big, or I'm too old, or it's just like all the things where our brain just goes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So we have to do this without worrying about how you would do it, or, if you have the resources or not. Just go with what would you love? And we're out of touch with that a lot.
And I think also think about your own job. If only a couple of things were different, would this be your dream job?
Yeah, so good. So good, because what if you could create the differences that you need?
Already in your job.
Yes.
Or maybe you could look a lateral move, something like that. There could be something within the job you already have that could easily make it your dream job.
It's so true. I'm so glad you brought that up, because again, what if the benefits are great and the pay is great and you like 3/4 of it, but this other quarter you think is awful? What can you do to change that?
Yeah, and like Robin said, don't worry about the how. Just write it all down.
That'll get in your way big time.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, I still struggle with that when
Me too.
when we go to write things, but I'm not sure how to do it. So what? If you know what, if it's a good idea and your body says, "Ooh, I like that," you're going to figure it out. Just like the relationships, right?
That has been such a huge lesson for me, because I go straight for the mechanics of it.
Yeah.
Well, how is that going to happen? And I know every time I give a talk or I talk to other people, they want to know how right away. But let's just brain dump it all. Just get it out there.
It's so true. And Monique, I had that in personal training. People wanted to lose the weight, and it's the same thing. It's like, just tell me how. And I'm like, okay, but what are we thinking about the food? They're just, oh my gosh. And it really can be fun. It really can be fun if you can be open to, don't go for the how first. It will shut you down.
Yeah.
It mostly shuts us down. If you are stuck at your job and if all this stuff is like me, your hands up tall, and you're saying, I totally relate to this, there's a good chance you have not explored this. So let go of the how when you're making this list and just let yourself dream. Just like any other brain dump we've given you, just trust yourself and dump it down there, okay? And here's another thing I really want you to keep in mind. Total honesty when you're doing all of this work. Anytime you're saying, what can I do different? What's in all of this? What's not working and how to fix it? Get honest about what am I willing to do and what am I not willing to do.
Yeah.
So if you are not willing to go look for another job or do any, go up to your boss or do any of these things, it's not going to work. So if you know that about yourself, then it's really important to go try to find ways to make yourself happier where you are.
Yes.
Right? But hopefully just that question alone, if you see that you're not willing to do a bunch of things, go back and revisit that too. With curiosity.
Right, because all this comes internally. If you went to a friend of yours or anybody and said, oh, what should I do? They'll give you ideas of things they could do. But that may not be something you can think you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so be willing. I'm such an action taker.
You are an action taker.
I'm going to try it.
Yeah. See, so take on some of Monique's ease. Just have fun with it. And it's really, really true. Just, if it is to be, it's up to me.
Yeah.
Go live that for a little bit. See how it goes.
Okay.
All right.
I like that. Now, we do want to have one more segment in here before we wrap it up.
Yeah.
And kind of pulling together all of these episodes of the what's not working, kind of I've tried everything in my relationships, my business, my health. So bring it all together.
Okay. Here it is. You ready?
Yes, I am.
You and me and you, we are the common denominator in all of these things. And we are the only thing that we can change.
Yeah.
We can't change other people. We can't change the boss. We can't change health. We have a lot to do with, but there are things in our health that diagnosis, injuries, things like that. What it comes down to is how do you want to look at it and what are you willing to do to change it? So it is working our own side of the street.
Yeah.
That's if you want to be happy.
If you want, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we want to be happy, the most thing we can do is what am I in charge of? What can I change? And then start accepting and letting go of what we can't change.
Yes. And think about how all these pieces go together.
It's true.
All of it goes together.
You're at the core.
Yeah.
Our thoughts are at the core, our beliefs are at the core, and our willingness to change is at the core.
And working your side of the street, working your lane, we've talked a lot of episodes just to boil it down to that.
Yeah, it's true.
But it is true.
Yeah, it's like, what can you do that should be good news too, by the way, right?
Oh, agreed.
That is such good news, because even if it's hard or we're not used to thinking like that, you can start right this minute and say, wow, what can I take more responsibility for?
And you know what? What's great, I just thought of, with the stay in your own lane, there's no traffic.
So good.
It's open. It is an open lane for you.
And staying in our own lane keeps us so busy if we let it.
Yeah.
It's like
we're doing all the things that we want to do.
How can I be better? How can I make it better?
Oh my gosh.
How can I be kinder? How can I help other people? I mean, all those things are in this positive light over here, and it throws you way higher into those higher levels of energy.
Okay.
So, bottom line energy. Oh. I almost forgot to say that.
Oh, well, that's really important. But I love the idea that your lane, when you're in it, it's wide open to you.
Yeah.
How you want to pursue your health, your relationships, your work.
Yeah.
And how happy you want to be doing that, and the thoughts you have around that.
It's all yours. It is all
right there.
yours.
Yeah. Ooh, that gives me so much hope and like little goosebumps.
And if you're hanging out with other people that want to work their lane, talk about a great relationship.
Oh my gosh.
Two people, each whole,
Yes.
coming together.
Ooh.
Whether it's friendships, marriage, whatever it is, business relationships. You got two people that are working their own side of the street and come together.
Wow. Wow.
That's magical.
This is so inspiring. As all of our podcasts are. And I know that you all love this and you love these. So I hope you subscribe.
Subscribe and also
share.
Yeah, share when I get so many emails and listen to podcasts, and it's rare that I don't pass it along to somebody that it makes me think of.
Okay.
So that's really what I'd love for you to do. If you hear an episode and you're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so needs to hear this, please be one of those people. Yeah. Grab the link, send it right to their phone, and tell them why you thought of them.
Oh my gosh. So thank you so much for listening and watching. We're on YouTube. We're on your favorite podcast app. But the best place to find you
is my website, robinmcintire.com. My name is spelled with all I's. Ready? ROBINMCINTIRE.
Yay! And I'm going to do this out of order. Remember, shift happens.
Shift happens. We want good shifts, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to take the shift happens and make it, hey, shift happens.
Yeah. And Robin is here for you.
I'm here for you.
Yay. Thanks so much. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Ciao.
Ciao.